It was just a regular Saturday. The kind where the laundry hums in the background and the only big decision is whether to grill steaks or order takeout. I was in the garage, elbow deep in oil, trying to fix a leak in the mower when Amy called me in. She was sitting at the kitchen table with a weird look on her face. Not angry, not sad, just neutral. That was my first warning. I sat across from her, wiping my hands with a rag, thinking this was going to be about Ava's car insurance, or maybe something Rachel needed for grad school. But she didn't even let me ask. "I need to tell you something," she said, voice calm, like she was ordering coffee. "I've been seeing someone else. His name's Matt. He's 27. My coworker." I didn't get it at first. I laughed, literally laughed. I thought she was joking. Maybe she lost a bet. Maybe it was one of those dumb pranks she used to pull when we were younger. But she didn't smile. She didn't blink. She just looked at me with that same dead calm and added, "It's been going on for 2 years. I'm ready to take the next step with him." The rag fell out of my hand. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. I felt like the floor had tilted under me and I couldn't catch my balance. 23 years. 3 kids. A mortgage. A million damn memories, bonfires, vacations, hospital visits. The night we ran out of gas on I-70 and laughed ourselves stupid waiting for AAA. All of it. Burned up in her mouth like it was nothing. I asked her why. That's all I could say. "Why?" She shrugged. "I felt alive with him. You've been distant for years. We're just roommates now." Roommates. That word hit like a sledgehammer. My chest tightened. My throat closed. And before I could stop it, I broke. I sobbed loud, ugly, shaking sobs. I leaned forward, face in my hands, trying to breathe but failing. It felt like I was drowning right there at my own kitchen table. She didn't cry. She didn't reach for my hand. She patted my shoulder like I was a coworker having a rough day. Not the man she once told she couldn't live without. "I'm sorry, really. I just need to do this," she said. That was when I begged. "God help me," I begged. "Please don't go. We can fix this. I'll change. Just don't leave." Even saying it now makes me sick. But it happened. I was that man for about 3 minutes. A man begging someone who had already packed her bag and unplugged her heart. And the worst part? She looked at me with pity. Not guilt. No regret. Just pity. "I hope you'll understand someday," she said. Then she stood up and walked down the hallway like it was just another Saturday and she was going out to run errands. I heard the front door close. And then, nothing. No car engine. No tires on gravel. Just silence. That was the moment the tears stopped. Something in me, whatever part of me still clung to the illusion of us, died right there. The quiet felt like a funeral. I stayed at that table for hours. Didn't move. Didn't eat. I stared at the spot she had been sitting in, wondering how you can live with someone for more than 2 decades and still never really see what they're capable of. By the time the sun went down, I wasn't crying anymore. I was just empty. And somewhere in that emptiness, a fire was starting. The door had been shut for maybe 20 seconds when I stood up from the table. My legs were stiff. My face was raw. My shirt clung to my back with sweat from the breakdown I just had. And yet, something was different. The begging had stopped. The sobbing was over. Whatever part of me that cracked open when Amy dropped that bomb, it had hardened. I walked over to the living room window and watched her carry a duffel bag to her car. She didn't even look back. Not once. Just got in, started the engine, and pulled out like she was heading to the gym. Like she hadn't just demolished the man who paid the bills, raised 3 kids, fixed every leaky pipe and broken cabinet in this damn house. I wanted to scream, wanted to punch a wall, but I didn't. Instead, I stood there perfectly still and said 3 words out loud. "Don't come back." And that was it. That was the pivot. I didn't feel powerful. I felt hollow. But I also felt clear. Clearer than I had in years. I walked through the house like I was seeing it for the first time. The pictures on the wall, family vacations, birthdays, our wedding, looked like scenes from someone else's life. I walked into the bedroom and saw her drawer half empty. She'd packed in advance. Of course she had. This wasn't a conversation. It was an announcement. I stripped the bed and threw the sheets in the wash. Not because I was being dramatic. Because I couldn't sleep in the same linens she had used the night before, knowing she had someone else on her mind. Matt, 27-year-old punk. Probably didn't even know how to unclog a sink. I sat down on the edge of the bed and exhaled slowly. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was surgical, cutting through everything false, leaving only what was real. Amy hadn't expected me to tell her to leave. Not really. She came in thinking I'd beg again, that I'd offer to go to counseling or ask what I did wrong. She wanted a doormat. Instead, she got a man who stood up, wiped his face, and said, "Get out." That look on her face, that little flinch of surprise when I told her to go, I'll carry that image forever. Not because it gave me joy, but because it was the first time in a long time I saw her unsure of herself. The pain didn't disappear. It simmered. It would simmer for a long while. But something fundamental had shifted. I wasn't chasing her. I wasn't blaming myself. I got up, went to the fridge, grabbed a beer, and sat outside on the back porch. The wind was picking up. The trees swayed like they were whispering secrets. I took a long pull from the bottle and let the cold hit my throat. She thought I'd fall apart without her. She didn't know I'd already started building the man I used to be, brick by brick, before she even made it to the stop sign. By the time night came, I had stripped the bed, cleared her vanity, unplugged her curling iron, and set all her remaining crap in the hallway closet. I didn't burn it. I didn't throw it out. I wasn't going to play that game, but I did clear my space. When I finally lay down, I stared at the ceiling fan as it spun slowly above me. The bed felt foreign. The house felt haunted. But for the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of the silence. I welcomed it, because it meant she was gone. I must have fallen asleep sometime around 3 a.m. The kind of sleep that doesn't rest you, just shuts you down like a breaker switch. I woke up stiff and aching, still dressed in yesterday's clothes, dried salt on my face and a pounding headache behind my eyes. The house was quiet until the front door creaked open. "Ava," I called, my voice like sandpaper. She walked in cautiously, like she already knew something was wrong. 18 and wise beyond her years. My youngest, my quiet observer. She saw me slumped on the couch, the TV off, the half-empty beer bottle on the floor, and stopped in her tracks. "Dad, what happened?" I couldn't speak. Not right away. My jaw tightened, and I felt something rise in my throat, but I swallowed it back down. Not this time. No tears. No collapse. "She's gone," I said simply. "She left. She's been cheating on me. For 2 years. Ava stood there like she'd been punched. Her hands trembled as she dropped her backpack on the floor. "What?" "Matt, her coworker, 27. She told me yesterday. Said she wanted to be with him." I watched her face change. Shock, confusion, then pure, protective rage. "That little?" She cut herself off, lips trembling. "I'll kill him. I swear." I almost laughed. Almost. Not because it was funny, but because even in that moment I was proud. My baby girl had my fire. She sat next to me and grabbed my hand like she was the parent now. "We're not letting her get away with this, Dad." I didn't answer. I didn't know what getting away with it even meant anymore. But the warmth of her grip, the steadiness in her eyes, it grounded me. By 6 p.m., Rachel and Jake were home. Ava had called them both. Rachel, my oldest, stormed in with red eyes and clenched fists, already crying. Jake, silent and pale, hugged me hard without saying a word. They didn't ask for details. They didn't ask what I did wrong. They just sat with me. And then came Eric, my younger brother, Navy vet, tough as hell, emotionally blunt, but loyal like an old dog that never forgets who fed him. He showed up that night with a duffel bag and a six-pack. "I'm crashing here," he said. "Don't argue." "I wasn't going to," I said, voice hoarse. He cracked open a beer and tossed me one. "She's gone." I nodded. "Good," he muttered. That woman always had too many mirrors and not enough soul. I wanted to laugh again, but I didn't have it in me. Still, hearing someone say the truth without flinching, was like a life raft in open water. The next few days were a blur of takeout containers, awkward silences, and unspoken grief. The kids kept circling me like satellites, checking in, sitting nearby, doing little things to keep the house from falling apart. Jake fixed the leaky faucet in the bathroom. Rachel did laundry and baked cookies she knew I wouldn't eat. Ava put my phone on Do Not Disturb and told her mom not to call. And Eric stayed. He took over the grill, mowed the lawn, sat with me at night and didn't say much, just handed me a beer and nodded like that was all the therapy I needed. We were a broken house, but we weren't alone. It struck me one evening, as we all sat on the back patio. Sun setting, grill smoking, Ava playing music from her phone, that even in ruin, I still had something she didn't. I had them. Amy had left thinking she was chasing something better. What she'd really done was hand me the very people who would carry me back to life. She picked Matt. I picked my damn self. It had been 6 days since Amy walked out of our home and into her fantasy. 6 days of silence. Not a text. Not a call. No, how are the kids? No, I forgot my hairdryer. Just nothing. That suited me fine. I wasn't ready to talk. Wasn't ready to hear her voice without wanting to put a fist through drywall. But then, late one evening, when Eric was out getting more charcoal and the kids were upstairs, the phone rang. Amy. I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't want to answer, but some old reflex still lingered, some leftover instinct from 23 years of partnership. So I picked it up. Her voice was small, strained, the kind of voice someone uses when they've already cried themselves hoarse. Hey! I didn't say anything. She cleared her throat. I don't know if I should be calling. I didn't know who else to talk to. I let the silence stretch. Then, because I'm human, and because I hate that I still cared even a fraction, I asked the worst question possible. Are you okay? And just like that, the dam burst. No, I'm not okay, she whispered. Matt, he's not who I thought he was. He said I was too much, too old, too complicated. He told me last night that this wasn't ever serious for him, that he thought I understood. She choked back a sob. I'm in a hotel, David. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. There it was, the truth under the surface. She didn't miss me. She missed safety. She missed comfort. She missed the man who held everything together while she played house with a guy who only saw her as a fling. And now that her fantasy had imploded, she wanted her backup plan. Me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't curse. I didn't cry. I just said, no. The line went silent. What? She said, stunned. No, I repeated. You made your choice. You walked out that door with a bag already packed. You didn't just cheat, Amy. You moved on while I was still paying the gas bill and folding your laundry. Her breathing hitched. I don't hate you, I continued, voice steady. But I don't trust you. I don't want to see you. And I'm not going to be the consolation prize because some boy didn't play house like you imagined. David, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking straight. Yes, you were. For 2 years, you were thinking exactly straight. And I was the fool who thought we still had something sacred. I messed up, she said, pleading now. Can't we just talk? Maybe work through it. No, I said again. We're not talking. We're not fixing this. You burned the bridge. I'm not standing in the smoke waiting to get choked again. She started crying, full-on sobs. It didn't move me. Maybe it should have. 23 years is a long time. But all I could think about was how easily she watched me break down 6 days ago, dry-eyed and distant. How she patted my shoulder like I was a colleague with a bad report card. You should hang up now, Amy, I said. There's nothing here for you anymore. She didn't. She just sat there crying, hoping I'd cave. I didn't. I ended the call. Then I sat there in that same kitchen chair, the one where she'd confessed, and let the silence settle again. But this time it felt different. This time I wasn't broken. I was clean. The next morning, my phone buzzed before sunrise. 12 missed texts, all from Amy. The first one started soft. I didn't sleep. I miss you. I didn't realize what I had. Then it turned. You've poisoned the kids against me. I thought you were better than this. You're acting selfish, David. You always shut down instead of trying. And just like that, the script flipped. She had gone from regret to rage without skipping a beat. The woman who begged to come home last night had already decided it was my fault by morning. I sat there reading every word with a dead stare, my coffee untouched, my pulses calm, because I knew exactly what this was now. Gaslighting. Classic textbook manipulation. Make me doubt myself. Make me feel guilty. Make me chase after the very woman who betrayed me so she could wear the victim's crown. I had played that part for years without even knowing it. All the times she shut down when I brought up a problem. All the times she made me apologize for making her feel bad. Even when she was the one who crossed the line. All the times I cooked dinner after a long day at work just to avoid another Cold War of silence. It hadn't started with Matt. That was just the final act. The truth hit me like a gut punch. I'd spent decades with someone who never truly saw me. Not as a man. Not as a partner. Just as a reliable appliance like a dishwasher or a furnace. Useful. Predictable. Replaceable. And now that her new model had short-circuited, she wanted the old one back. Not because she missed me, but because she missed what I did for her. I scrolled through her messages again, each one more desperate, more unhinged. I gave you the best years of my life. You're throwing away everything over one mistake. I can't believe how cold you're being. Cold? I cried in front of her, sobbed, broken like a boy. She'd patted me on the back and walked out the door without flinching. And now I was cold? No, this wasn't cold. This was clarity. I didn't respond, didn't dignify the guilt trip with a reply. I just screenshotted the messages, labeled the folder, and archived them in my new divorce file. Because this wasn't about winning anymore. It was about walking away clean. Later that morning, Ava noticed me reading something on my phone. You okay? She asked. I nodded. She's lashing out. Ava didn't flinch. Let her. You don't owe her anything. And that's when I realized. My kids didn't buy it either. They saw through her just like I finally had. I hadn't turned them against her. She did that herself. One betrayal at a time. The universe has a sick sense of humor sometimes. 3 days after Amy's angry text parade, I was sitting in the garage flipping through a box of old tools when my daughter Rachel barged in. Phone in hand, face lit up like someone had handed her the keys to a new truck. Dad? She said, barely holding in a grin. You need to see this. I raised an eyebrow. She turned the screen toward me. It was a Facebook post. From Amy. The caption read, Worst mistake of my life. Never trust a boy pretending to be a man. Below it was a long rant. One of those stream of consciousness disasters that smells like wine, regret, and desperation. She went on about how some people use you, how she sacrificed everything, how she left stability for love and ended up with lies. But the real kicker? The comments, co-workers, people from her office. Girl, I warned you about Matt. He slept with Emily too. You left your husband for that guy? Damn, 2 years and he ghosted you? That's rough. I scrolled down in silence. One woman even posted a picture of Matt on a date with someone else. Someone younger, blonde, holding his hand at a concert. Rachel stood over me, arms crossed, satisfaction blooming all over her face. She's getting dragged, she said. I didn't smile. Not right away. But I'll be honest. Deep down it felt like justice. Cold. Unapologetic. Poetic. Amy had set our family on fire for a guy who saw her as a fling. Who probably laughed behind her back while I was still mowing her damn lawn. She called our marriage loveless. And now she was crying online about being used like an old napkin. The irony didn't just slap. It sang. I closed the phone and handed it back to Rachel. Don't share that with your siblings, I said. She nodded. Already told Ava and Jake. But I get it. No gloating. I gave her a half smile. Just let her rot in peace. That night, I sat on the porch with Eric again. He was smoking a cigar, feet kicked up, eyes on the stars. Told you karma works quick when you shut the hell up and let it, he said, puffing. I nodded. Yeah. I took a long sip of beer and leaned back. I hadn't lifted a finger. No revenge plot. No drama. No loud scenes. Just silence. And her own choices crashing down like bricks. The world has a front row seat now. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something that wasn't pain or rage. I laughed. Low. Quiet. Real. I filed the divorce papers on Thursday. No big speech. No dramatic letter. Just a quiet meeting with my lawyer and a few signatures that ended a marriage older than our youngest child. Amy hadn't filed anything herself. Maybe she thought I'd fold eventually. Maybe she assumed the pity calls and guilt texts would wear me down. But after her Facebook meltdown, I knew exactly what she was doing, stalling. Hoping the embarrassment would fade and the door would stay open. I wasn't interested in keeping any doors open. My lawyer, a sharp guy named Chris who spoke like every sentence was a courtroom closing argument, slid the final copy across the table and said, "You sure you're ready?" "Been ready since she called me Plan B," I said. He nodded. "Then let's end this properly." Amy was served the next day. Eric was the one who saw the envelope first. He found it in the mailbox with her name in bold letters. We both stared at it like it might detonate. He tossed it onto the table like it was just junk mail. "She's gonna flip," he said. "She already has." That evening, I got the reaction I expected. More texts. This time not just angry, venomous. "You're almost 50 and boring, David. Who the hell do you think you're going to end up with? You really think you'll do better than me? Good luck finding someone who puts up with you this long. You're pathetic. You needed me." I didn't respond. I didn't need to, because here's the thing. I did need her. Once. When I was younger, dumber, and thought love meant tolerating disrespect in the name of commitment. But not anymore. Now I needed space. I needed air. I needed to feel like a man again in my own damn house. Her insults didn't hit the way they used to. I wasn't the same man who sobbed at the kitchen table begging her to stay. That man was gone. In his place stood someone sharper, calmer, more dangerous in his silence. Rachel asked me that night, "How do you feel now that it's real?" I thought about it. Then I said, "Free." Amy thought walking out gave her power. But it's the one who ends it for good that holds the real torch. I didn't slam the door shut out of anger. I locked it quietly and threw away the key. We met in the conference room of my lawyer's office on a gray Tuesday morning. Amy walked in 10 minutes late, dressed like she had somewhere better to be. Long coat, heels, just enough makeup to pretend she wasn't unraveling. She smiled like nothing happened, like we were old friends meeting for lunch. Not two people signing the death certificate of a 23-year marriage. "Hi, David," she said softly. I gave her a nod. Not cold, not kind, just enough to acknowledge she existed and nothing more. She took her seat, pulled out a pen, and started flipping through the settlement like she was scanning a menu. My lawyer walked her through the terms. Clean split, house stays with me, joint custody until Ava turns 18 in 2 months, no alimony. She didn't contest anything. Not a word of protest. That's when I knew how far she'd fallen. She didn't have the fight in her anymore. Matt was gone. Her job? Fired 2 weeks ago. HR doesn't tolerate office drama, especially when the office starts whispering. She was couch surfing between an old friend's basement and a cousin she hadn't spoken to in 5 years. The kids? Still not speaking to her. Rachel even blocked her number. The woman who thought she was upgrading her life had burned every bridge on the way out. Now she was stranded in the smoke. And me? I felt nothing. No rage. No heartbreak. No smug satisfaction. Just nothing. And God, it felt good. After the meeting, as I packed up the folder, she reached for my arm. "David," she said, "can I say something?" I didn't move. "You can say whatever you want. I don't have to listen." She flinched, then straightened up like she was trying to hold the last of her dignity. "I don't expect forgiveness. I know I ruined everything. But I did love you. I really did." I looked her in the eyes. "You loved what I did for you, not who I was. And that's the part one should have seen a long time ago." Her face fell. Just a flicker. She nodded and stepped back. "I hope you find peace," she said. "I already have." and I walked out first. No looking back. That evening, I sat on the back porch, same chair, same worn cushion. The grill was cooling off. Eric had gone home. The house was quiet again, but not empty. Ava was inside, laughing with Jake about some meme. Rachel was texting me pictures of a dog she wanted me to adopt. The fridge was full, the lights were warm, and I felt solid for the first time in months. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't broken. I was rebuilding slowly, quietly, on my own terms. I am seeing a therapist now. She wasn't the tell me your dreams type, more like a battlefield medic for emotional trauma. Straight talk, hard truths, exactly what I needed. I told her once, I still love her somewhere, and I hate that. She replied, that's normal. But love doesn't mean you invite them back into your life. It just means you're human. That stuck with me, because I am human. But I'm also a man who stood up from the rubble and chose strength. I didn't win by revenge. I didn't need to. I won by walking away, by choosing silence over begging, by becoming the man I should have always been before I forgot what that looked like. Amy tried to come back, but by the time she did, I was already gone. Not from the house, not from the kids, but from her world, forever.